leadership of the Dawhenya irrigation dam are where the water goes eventually. The spillways are not adequate. They are choked. They once a time on day one that they do some halfway dredging and then they end somewhere just to let people know that adequate is actually being done. So this has been going on for a while, for a long time. This is one of the worst case situations. Every year we experience worst cases. That look, where I am, Mutual, I cannot go or even come. The water level is just at the chest level. And I wonder how the children are living. Their biggest, nobody can even go to school or come back. How do they even go to school? How do they even go out or come? So the security even concerning the little children is even worse. The breeding ground for mosquitoes can't even be talked about at the moment. So I'm not sure if the MP within Dawhenya is actually known of what is really happening. I'm not sure. So we have been engaging the assembly. Some of us have been engaging the assemblies because some of the residents sometimes want to go ahead and take initiatives and then dredge the area. We do that, but we can't do it all because not all the residents think like us.
Right.
We can contribute, but if the others don't, we can't. So we end up even with our hands even folded. And at the assembly, we will even tell that if we want to even dredge, we have to consult them first. We even come and supervise.
Right.
And that is another bureaucratic means that we can't even bear. So, John, as we speak, this country is actually turning into something else. We just recently watched Mepe residents suffer, and it is now on our nose in Accra.
Right.
We won't be able to sit down for this to actually extend. The more, settlement keeps increasing. People are moving from Tema towards 25 Dawhenya Pram. So this issue will have to be sorted out. I'm not sure how it's going to happen, but the leadership of this Dawhenya irrigation dam have no clue as to how the water goes when they open their spillways. So it's a very big situation. Where for me, my building, I've invested a lot in it, and you see, we can't even drive in and out. So as I speak to you now, I have to move from Dawhenya to Tema to be able to go to work, at least fetch with a friend. I don't know for how long I'm going to stay here with my family, my kid, and we've all left to a friend's house. And because we don't want to lose our jobs. So we don't know how long this is going to happen. We don't even know how the people, the handlers, how they are managing their life.
Let me bring Henry in.
I have no idea.
Let me bring Ken into the conversation. Ken, is your narrative just what Henry has told us, or you have a different story?
Yeah, it's similar. But I was at the dam yesterday, and the common misconception out there is it's something you open and then close, and then the authorities didn't inform, and then they open. When you get to the ground, it's not like that. It's just a brick laid up, and when the water goes above the level, it just overflows into the big gutter, and then that's what causes that. But the gutter, which this massive water is supposed to pass in, it's not that big, so it can't contain that, and then that's when it overflows the banks and then moves to people's houses. So I don't know for a fact what the problem really is, but that's my personal opinion. I think if the gutters are wide enough to contain that kind of water, everyone should be good.
The authorities so far, Henry, I'll come to you now. Have they come to your aid with some relief items and some support of a sort, psychological help, if you will? Henry, can you hear me?
Yeah, John, I can hear you. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It has been happening like this for many, many times. And in all of the times, the authorities have never been in the community to engage anyone or even send any relief items to anyone. So as we speak now, it is negative.
Negative.
There hasn't been any post engagement on this flood with the authorities. No one has come to the communities. No one has come to sympathize with anyone.
Ken, go ahead.
From my side, I did see people around. I did see not more cars around, but I didn't see them shared. But I heard they're taking some names down. I'm not sure what they're going to do about that. Hopefully, those who are in trouble, they engage them soon.
When was this, Ken? If you like, and which area specifically are we talking about?
This is in Apatit, and it was just rumors I heard. I didn't see them myself, but I heard they've been there to take some names down.
Right.
And what Henry said, same thing here. It does come, but not this magnitude. And when it comes, it just within a day or two, just pushes back. But this is the worst we've seen. I've been here for maybe like 10 years, and this is the worst I've seen. We literally had to carry the grandmas out of the houses, pregnant women stuck in the water, not sure of their fate. It was really troubling.
Henry, so you must be hopeful that when all is said and done, you can reoccupy your home and stop patching with your friend in Tema. But is that a reality we're looking at the conversations that are presently happening, people building on the banks of the streams, etc.?
The last person who is even closer to where I am, before he started building, he went, even the assembly came. Usually when you start any building, the assembly comes to do that due diligence of inspection.
Right.
And the assembly does it well, and they have that buffer. That buffer has well been established, so anyone won't be able to build within the banks of the river. So as we speak now, the last person who is on that crate has been clear off the banks of the river. But the problem is that the channel of the spillway is inadequate. That is the primary problem. The channel of the spillway, whatever they call it, if there isn't in the stormwater drain that can carry all this spillway to where it has to go. So, one, the destination of the spill has been affected because the channel that is supposed to carry the spill is not adequate. It's actually very shallow and narrow. It's shallow and narrow. So if that is not sorted out, of course, water on a high volume is capable of spreading to wherever it wants to, as long as it is how do you call it, restricted. So engineering-wise, there is an issue with the spill drain capacity, right? And we don't really, maybe there are a few houses probably which are a bit closer to the banks, which also has to be looked at. But in this way, we can't even talk about a drain that is sufficient to even come to houses that are closer to it. As long as the drain is not sufficient, you can blame houses that are even close, because water has a way of spreading to wherever it wants to be.
Right.
If the direction is actually impeded. So we think that, of course, there can be cases where there are houses that are really close to the banks of it, but then the channel itself has to be addressed. You can't just, open spillway because the lows of the water are high for you to allow some to. You can't just do that when you don't know where the magnitude of this flow will be going to. This is entering into people's communities and house. Yeah, so the spillway is a problem.
It's a problem that has to be dealt with. I see. Ken, so I'm looking at some of the videos now. I see the water all the way towards, at the level of the chest of some, able-bodied men who are trying some rescue mission on their own. And again, I'm worried about the infections that could come from the water that they're going to and fro. Are you able to confirm if the health authorities, public health nurses have also been there to assess the situation, to say, this is good, this is not good, it's polluted, it's not polluted, don't go into it, don't walk into it?
That's a negative. I've seen no presence of any health authorities around. But indeed, I did see some snakes in there, frogs in there, all sort of insects in there.
Wow. So, are you also patching with somebody?
No. Fortunately for me, I live upstairs, so it was at my base. So those who were downstairs, that's where the trouble was.
I see.
As at now, it has retrogressed a little bit. So at my end, there is bare land, but just after me, there's still water there.
And in terms of your food and other supplies, water and necessaries of life, do you have access to some of them?
Yes, I do.
You do.
Fortunately for me, it was just right after market this all happened. So I really didn't need to even go out. All I had to do was just move the car away. And then I was good to go.
I see.
But for the rest, that's where the concern is. I said earlier, there was a pregnant woman trapped in there.
I see. Henry, what's your story as well? Essential supplies. You have had to move to Tema, but before you left, did you have, for example, any of your gadgets destroyed? Fridges, television sets, what have you? Hello, Henry.
Johnny, sorry. I'm a civil engineer, so before I started building over there, I actually look at the worst case situation. So I was able to lift my footing level higher than most of the people there. So the water, I think, has never climbed up to my footing level. This is the first time it has been able to climb up to my footing level. So hopefully, luckily, it wasn't able to climb up to my living room or so ever. But on a worse case situation than this, I'll be affected. But the people around me, their footing levels are much lower than mine. So I believe that they are much more of a casual, a victim than myself. So personally, I do not have any gadget affected because I have to invest higher on the foundations.
See, you are a professional in this field, you say. Do you get a sense that the assembly and authorities, those that matter, pay attention to some of the inputs that you make to them to say, look, I think that if we do this from an engineering point of view, it will be better for all of us and everybody who lives here. Do they listen to you at all?
Yes, I think the assembly is doing a good job. The engineer Glover is actually when I was doing he engaged my site a lot. And so they were able to scrutinize the designs well. They came to the site, but I believe that they may have to also pay extra details to some of the structural designs that they present. Probably look at the situation, the area that is vulnerable to these flooding cases, and then encourage builders or designers to raise the foundations of the buildings that are close there. So I think the assemblies have to pay attention to the fact that the area is vulnerable to flooding, and therefore designs that are lifted there must be lifted up a little bit.
Okay. Let's wrap up the conversation. Ken, I'll start with you. So what's next for you?
We just hope at this point. We just hope that there's really little we can do.
Henry, are you hopeful too, or you hold a different view?
I'm not really hopeful because this has been happening for a long time, and this has been the worst of the ones I've witnessed. So what more to hope for than to see that the assembly and then the leadership of the Dawhenya irrigation dam are taking responsibility for their operations. We're dealing with communities, and you will have to engage the communities more, and then look at your spill demands and supplies, and then come up with some creative solutions so that at the end of the day, your operations doesn't destroy communities. At the moment, as we speak, it is not good, and I don't really see where I should hope whatsoever. Investors who want to come and invest there in real estate, I'm not sure what their money they have invested at the initial stages will turn up to be. So it calls for serious solutions at the moment. We are not hopeful until we see something, being solved on the ground. At the moment, John, it's a pity for lots of the people there. It's really a pity.
Thank you very much, Henry and Ken, and we pray that the authorities will listen to the inputs and then get you out of this trouble as soon as possible. But we're grateful that you spent your money with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great. And those are victims. Right there, George. You went there. These stories or these narratives that they have given us, do they represent largely what you went to see?
Yes, they do. But the fact that they are not admitting that, their development on waterways is what, I don't understand. Yes, the dam has been spilled, but it has been compounded by the development on water.
But they insist that, look, the assembly came to
nobody
check.
Exactly.
And then they gave them. And I've always had, William, you know my position on this. If the person is perpetrating an illegality,
exactly,
do not endorse it by going to them to collect tolls and give them property rate and go and collect, take water there, take electricity there. Then when you finish, you come and tell us that, they were doing the wrong thing. Because if you are an assembly,